Welcome back. Discord is apparently introducing some Patreon features. YouTube has got rid of dislikes. What are some other Twitch mistakes that we personally have made? Welcome to the Suggested Podcast, a podcast about content creation for content creators by content creators. I am Reapz.
Hi, I'm LJ.
And I'm Nutacular. Welcome.
Welcome. We're back. We're back, everybody. It is lovely to see your faces again. And obviously, another big week of news. Something you just told me, obviously, was can we start on this Discord Patreon theme? Because do we think that this is going to work, or is it basically just another avenue for Discord to be like, oh, these are some more features and we can maybe get some more money off of this rather than actually fully pursuing it like Patreon does?
I mean, it's definitely a bit of both. Like, it's absolutely a bit of both. But when you if you think about it, it makes sense. Like with the platform that they have and everything they offer, it makes sense. Like maybe people, maybe you do like exclusive tutorials or like masterclasses that you set up in your own Discord, and so you have like special channels that you like only for your paid subscribers. Like I think Epos Vox, he talked about in his video, which is where I found out about this, is he's doing like a basic tier where it'll just get access to like a basic channel where just kind of it's more like a creator focused channel for people to kind of just generally talk about stuff. And then he has like a $26 tier, which is going to be a more exclusive kind of brainstorming kind of area where he can it's like, yeah, that's your direct line to get feedback from me and bounce ideas between him and other creators who want to get into that exclusive area. So I could see it being worthwhile. I mean, I'm not too familiar with how Patreon works as from a creator standpoint or a user standpoint, but like you could do early access to new videos, just kind of slap them in those paid for channels. I could see it working. I think Discord said that like they're only taking 10% of the cut. I don't know how much Patreon takes, but it's definitely, people could definitely be using it as an alternative, because a lot of people using like Ko-fi and other things to try and like be like, hey, look, if you want to support me on these other platforms, because Twitch takes 50%. So it could be just one of those things where it's like, hey, support me on Discord instead, and if you want to help me if you want to give me more of your monthly cut, basically.
Well, that's a big thing, isn't it? Because I know for me, like we've got so much social media out there, it's hard to know that you've really got to target a few. You can't target them all unless you're a big corporation and have multiple people working for you. You want to get those like big ones. And for me, the big ones are obviously Twitch, which we're on, YouTube, Instagram and Twitter are the ones that I focus on. And obviously I want to go more into TikTok and stuff, but it's nice to have Discord because it more feels like a hub to me where you can talk to people. Obviously, it's a more community feel. You've got those, sub channels and everything that obviously gets more of a forum, which you can't really do, I believe, on other things. You can't really put out a thread on Twitter and, coordinate it because you're just going to have 50,000 replies or something. And there's no real, there's no thread of where it goes. While with kind of Discord, it all seems to be more community based. Maybe that's just the marketing for me, but it's kind of nice that they do that. And we are talking on Discord, and we know that every content creator uses, I should say most content creators use Discord. So I think it's a pretty smart play. But LJ, do you agree, disagree?
I guess for me, it's one of those things where I just like, and this is you guys are gonna be like, oh, of course. But like, I look at Discord and I see it as such a good community tool, right? Like my favorite feature in the entirety of Discord has only been added recently, and it's the events tool. Like the fact you can just create events in the Discord now and people can join is so powerful. In terms of like paying with subs and stuff into Discord, I probably would just never do it, right? Yeah. Because even like adding sub roles and stuff like that can incentivize it, but I only have like 2 channels for my subs. I kind of want my Discord activity to be large, so I have like 10 channels total of like that actually thing, and I try and slim that down as much as possible because too many channels, it's found that Discord dies and stuff like that. So I probably wouldn't do it. And then in the terms of like adding a YouTube video early access, well, memberships do that already, and you can set custom prices and do all that stuff over on YouTube. So yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where it could be cool. I'm not going to say it isn't, but unless they add some really awesome feature that no other platform has, right? Yeah. I probably wouldn't add a separate new monetization, that I have to focus on and create content for. Same reason I haven't added the Patreon, right? Is because you have to build so much content for said Patreon to make it worth their while to be paying for it.
Exactly.
You know, at least on YouTube, if you're paying for my membership, you're probably going to get at least one video a month on my YouTube channel, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's fine. You don't have to worry about it. So I just feel like if I made that Discord, I would be stressed having to create more content and spread, like you said, with, you know, spreading across it.
There's just a lot, isn't there? Like it seems like everybody wants a cut, I believe, of support from the community. And it really is just up to the content creator to be like, okay, what works best for me? Where have I made my name?
Yeah.
What do people know? And for me, like Discord, I think it's smart of them. Don't get me wrong. I think more avenues for people to choose if they wanted to do subscription tiers on something on Discord and alike is a great thing. Because, you know, it gives competition out there, and competition, as we said, is always good. Yep. But yeah, I think it's because it's so new, I don't think I'll be jumping straight into it. I'm one of those people that will probably just follow. I'll look at how it goes at other people's channels, and then I'll watch their YouTube videos. I'll be like, yes, this is for me, or this is not for me. So I can't wait to see your video, LJ, in a few months' time.
Break it down. Why the Discord Patreon systems are LJ's terrible. Yeah. I'll just rip into it. I think an interesting thing, right, is like if you look at Point Crow. So if you look at Point Crow, what he used to do with his Discord was there was a particular channel in it that was you had to be a monetized supporter. I believe it was YouTube subs. You had to be not a YouTube sub, a Twitch sub to him, and you get the sub roll. And if you had that sub roll, you'd be able to download any of the modded games that he has for what he streams, right? So randomizer emerald runs, all these Pokemon things, Breath of the Wild mods, all this stuff that he's kind of had created for him.
Yep.
He would like have it all behind a paywall, so it would mean people would sub so they could download it and they could use it. And it wasn't necessarily I don't know if there was a backlash, but I definitely saw some people being like, oh, I really wanted to play these and I really wanted to support the mod maker, but I can't really support you and I don't get to watch your streams. And like instantly within like 2 weeks of him starting to post about how it was, you know, subs would get this, he decided, no, everyone can have it, and just made it public. Okay. And then took all the money, or I think the next part is correct. I'll have to check, but he took all the money that he earned from that idea of people joining, and I think he gave it to charity. Because he was like, you know, I don't need to monetize this. Yeah. You know, I really don't need to monetize this. Anyone can use it. And I think that's a great way to drive membership to your Discord as well. Yeah. And I think that's a big thing for me is I never want my Discord to feel like it is driven by monetization. Like, yeah, you know, sub to me and you get a special channel, you know, but it's like, I don't talk in that channel more than any other channel. Yeah. And I don't really want a special channel where half the conversation's there and half is over here. So therefore I've got two channels that are slightly dead rather than one channel that everyone's just talking in. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. But I feel like Discord isn't a place that I want to monetize. I've got Stream Scheme with 50,000 members in it. Right. And I haven't monetized that in the slightest amount. We get emails daily saying, hey, can you post an ad in your 50,000 person Discord and we'll pay you buku bucks? Like they want big money. Like they're like, just at your Discord, say it's a paid ad, blah, blah, blah. And I always go, no, I'm good. Like,
that's nice. That's nice.
Well, it's people get angry when I at them to say I released a new video. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I get the same, man. I get the same. What are you doing?
How dare you notify me of things that I'm going to watch anyway? What?
Yeah, in your content creator actual, Discord that's all about you. How dare you talk about yourself?
The only place you can actually confidently say that if you add them, they will get the notification of the release. Otherwise, YouTube notifications are like, oh yeah, they released a video like a week ago. Do you want to see it?
It's so true.
It's a couple days late.
But yeah, it really is. Sometimes I see things that pop up. I was like, oh, great, a new video from, let's just say, Moist Critical. And then I go into it and it's like from a week ago. And I'm like, what the hell is this? But speaking of YouTube and the things they're doing, we'll move on to dislikes. This is a bit old, but I think we'll cover it now because we had so much to talk about last week. But removing the dislike feature, that's a big move. I can see it from a PR perspective of like, it's a happy family. Only you will know if you want to check it out, like what Instagram did with their likes and things. Yeah. But to me, it's such a pivotal point. If you cannot take criticism of someone hitting the downvote button, which by the way, doesn't really mean anything, you can get like, those
zero engagement. It does nothing to hurt your video at all, other than the fact that if you're a tutorial or a guides channel like mine, then if someone comes and they see the dislikes, they'll assume that it is misleading, out of date, or doesn't work as a guide, right?
Yes.
I also as a tutorial and guides channel, so the ones that get hurt most by the bad dislikes and stuff like that, I'm totally fine with that because it also allows me to realize, and it also keeps me accountable. So I made a video called The Best Time to Stream to Grow, right? This was like 9 months, 10 months ago. Like this is in my second or third month of making content, right? And I was real cheeky with it. At the start, I was like, I'm going to tell you guys the best time to grow, but first I got to cover this and this, but stay tuned for that, which is called looping essentially, which is saying that something's coming up to get people hooked and then going through the rest of it, and it builds your retention rate. So essentially, I do this whole thing and I keep telling people, I'm going to tell you the best time. I'm going to tell you the best time. And I go through and explain to them how schedule's crucial, how being consistent is more important than streaming at the best time, all this sort of stuff. And then I get to the end, I go, okay, time for the best time to stream. There isn't one. And then I essentially say, I've already shown them the data that shows when most people are active, when most channels are active, when the least channels are active. I've given them all the information in the video. But then they just want that one piece of information. And I'm like, there isn't one. You're better off setting a schedule, being consistent, because if you do that, you're going to get clicks. There's always enough people online, right? That is my most disliked video. It's not disliked heavily. I think most of my videos get a 98% like to dislike ratio. So
That's
it's like
awesome,
10%,
man.
right? But that one video is like 93% to like to dislike ratio. But it's fair, right? Because it is, I do clickbait and I do push the envelope a little bit in what I'm delivering. And I think that I deserve the dislikes for that. You know what I mean? Like I do. So I kind of blows my mind that they're doing this, but also I think it's a clear example of what people constantly forget. That YouTube, just like every other corporate face, does not give a maybe I would believe that. Sorry. Does not give a crap
It's so good.
about does not give a crap about what its community actually wants. And I think it's another sign about how detached YouTube is from what YouTube culture actually is. Like what they want the YouTube culture to be with their rewinds and everything. And what it actually is. Like people like the dislike button. They've been open about it. Marcus Brownlee, Linus Tech Tips, the huge content creators have talked about it. And they have not said anything. Why? Because YouTube, Daddy Google, and then Daddy Alphabet doesn't care. Right? They do not care. We aren't going to stop using the systems.
Correct.
Well, that's it. Like, that's the thing. The dislike button is a good way to gain feedback on your video. And I mean, I think some people were drawing comparisons I think it was one of the Nintendo Directs, or there was like some major reveal that just got absolutely trashed.
Is this the Diablo? You don't have phones?
No, not that one. No, it was like, that one also. But no, it was a Nintendo. I could be remembering wrong. I'm pretty sure it was like a Nintendo video, and it got absolutely just disliked to oblivion. And then this got announced, I think, like after like kind of a week or 2 weeks later or something. People were like, Nintendo's paying off YouTube, but probably not. Could be.
I have a theory. Obviously I believe that this move is not for, small content creators like they're pitching it to be, in terms of you shouldn't be bullied for starting off a new thing unless you get dislikes, whatever. I strongly believe, and I think we all do, is that this is for the brands. This is for like when Coca-Cola released their "You're one Coke away from each other" gaming video.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Makes no sense when you watch it. Like apparently there's a button to drop all your weapons and hug people and make the sky, gorgeous or whatever. But it had such a tremendous dislike ratio because obviously it was Coca-Cola trying to be like, we're gamers too and we know what you're all about. But it got trashed to the extreme. And to me, they don't want that. When brands go onto YouTube, they want to be like, we are loved. So you're only going to see that they're only going to see that. We pull the wool over everybody's eyes. Because when we think about it, we are the hardcore users of YouTube. We know, the algorithms, we know all the things from content creation, what gets people hooked in, retention rates, especially you, LJ, you know it down to a T. Most people, I would say, that go on YouTube are your casual people who want to look up the new Ariana Grande song, you know what I mean, and just watch it in the background, maybe have it playing or whatever, but don't really understand. So they don't look at the likes and dislikes and things like that. But Coca-Cola, if they're like, well, you don't see the dislikes, but you see how amazing up likes when it comes to this ad, you've got to love it too. And it gives this kind of like weird, Pavlov response to it. I could be crazy there, but I think that this is definitely a brand move to make YouTube more friendly to the big companies out there.
100%.
It absolutely is. Yeah. They've been selling off YouTube from the individual creator to the companies for years now, right? Like Like the moment you could see it started to happen in the YouTube rewinds as soon as they started adding these like brand accounts and all these small things into it and stopped having individual creators and stuff like that. But also individual creators these days, the lines blur quite heavily between individual creator and a corporate company, because you may start out as an individual, but very quickly, if you grow, you've got other people behind you, right? Like, but like you look at someone like PewDiePie, I'd consider him an individual creator because it's him and like 2 editors. You know what I mean? Like, but essentially you can see it in the YouTube rewind. The moment Will Smith is there at the front of it saying, that's hot. That's hot. Like the moment that happens, you know that YouTube has no idea what actually is on their platform, or worse, they just do not care what is on their platform and they want to sell it a certain way to the mainstream.
Yep.
Which, you know, Jimmy, was it Jimmy Fallon? I don't even know what the late night talk show on.
Yeah, it was Jimmy.
All got terrible laughs and ask stupid questions. He was the one who was there and he was like playing on these little toy instruments and stuff in the rewind before the Will Smith one. And it's like, he's not a YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like he's not a YouTuber. Like why are you in this? Take that 30 seconds and show one of the amazing animators who spend day in, day out animating by themselves, right? Like, but no, instead we're going to show Saturday Night Live or whoever they are. I don't watch them. I hate that shit.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. And I've heard with the animators, because that was a big thing back a year or 2 years ago or something. It's like an animator came out and was saying that their CPM is this for animation compared to anything else. And that got blown out of the water. It was so minuscule compared to other stuff. And they barely got, promoted to suggested videos and things like that. But the big thing for me is you're correct in saying that I know that when I go onto YouTube and I type in, I don't know, how to set up my Google Home, whatever it is, and then you scroll down the page and you can see this has a dislike ratio of that. I know when it's clickbait. You know, when you go and see like a movie trailer, you type that bad boy in and then it's like, here's the latest movie trailer for Spider-Man. And then you see the dislike ratio and you're like, something's off here. And it's a fan made one that they've used previous things, that crap. And you're like, that's great. That gives me, a serviceable infograph right there. That's like, I'm not going to click on this. I'm not going to give you your views. I'm not going to, push up how much money you receive for this piece of crap. But now you have to download an extension to do that. And it's just like so backwards in terms of what I believe YouTube should be in the internet is, it's an open source. This is something that you can go on and find what you want to. But now there's that extra step you have to take of spending X amount of minutes to see if this tutorial's good, if this trail is real. And it's just a waste of time. Like I feel myself less and less going on me, scrolling through YouTube and rather taking suggestions rather from other people saying, yeah, this is legit. This is legit.
Yeah, I like
it's so tough.
Everyone's just gonna be clickbaiting so much harder, knowing that they're not going to see the dislike ratio button. They're not even going to see it. I mean, you'll obviously be able to see how many views does this have, how many likes does the video have, and try to come to some sort of conclusion. But
the problem is neither of those things hurt clickbait, right? Because the only things that clickbait hurt are your retention rate. Yeah. But I have some videos where my retention rate is like 20%, but it still gets huge recommendations because the click-through rate is so high on it. Right. Like the thumbnail and the title are so solid, but because it's a tutorial, they're there for like one thing. So they get the thing and they leave, which means the retention rate gets tanked, right? Yep. But because YouTube knows that it's a guide or tutorial, that algorithms worked out, they go, well, this is still the one we want to recommend. Yeah. Right. And it's super interesting about how it all works. But so like there's no way for us now to see if the clickbait is too harsh or too right. Like I think Ludwig was showing in one of his videos ages ago, he did a video called Ranking Streamers, YouTube channels or something like that. And the thumbnail was like the classic tier list thumbnail with the 3 YouTubers and blah, blah, blah. The video isn't actually a tier list and ranking, right? And people were a little upset in the comments and he got a bunch of dislikes. But it was one of his best performing videos, right? Okay. And now without a dislike button, there is literally no way to tell because the top comments on all that video are people enjoying the video and being upvoted to it. And the people who disliked it just naturally don't get engagements and they fall down.
Yeah.
So it's like, there really is no way now to essentially see if a video is clickbait or not, other than just watching it, which means there's really no harm in it anymore. Like if you have a good enough video and you understand the algo enough, you're not going to get in any trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good point there. And especially like, with videos in general of YouTube, you know, that's there forever practically. With Twitch, it's a different beast because you can't really have a like and dislike button on a stream that's just happening. You know what I mean? Like, what would you say if you, with YouTube, you know, you can look at the subscriber count if that's what you want to go by. I'm like, oh, there's so many subscribers, he must be good or she must be good, whatever it is. But when you see a video and there's a like and dislike, you're like, okay, this video is not for me. Do you think that can ever be transferable over to a live stream? Like, is there an indicator outside of your follow account, or if you've got a tick next to your name or whatever crap people judge you on, to go, this is the stream for me? Or do you have to apply yourself more because it is a live interactive thing? Will there ever be a like to dislike on Twitch?
I think you've got a few things that are indicators on whether a stream is good. I think you can tell by, for example, the thumbnail and the title are a big one for analyzing. It's not like a like or a dislike, but I think if you're scrolling through the browse categories, which no one does, I think the stats on this, I ran a poll and asked a bunch of people. I had like 6,000 replies. And I think it ranked in the terms of people just go straight to the favorite channel they like.
Yep.
People go to their follower list, and then people will go to their favorite game category. They never browse outside of that, really. It's pretty much how it is. So pretty much discovery only on Twitch would be those three, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you're thinking about those three, well, if you're already followed, there's no problems, right? Although I will say, if you're already following someone, actually sometimes the title and the game are your biggest indicators, because obviously you want to see the content that you liked from them, you know? And then, but I feel like if you're just scrolling through your favorite game category, the two things you look at is really that thumbnail. Does it stand out? Is it crisp and clear? And then the other one would be the title. Is the title actually using those first 36 characters, right? Those first 36 is what it is. If it's all grammar correct, it's roughly like 30 to 36 characters that'll appear under your title, under your thumbnail. And I think that's the biggest thing. Otherwise, because it is live, it really is your chat engagement. If you're a new person and you join a live stream, if your chat is completely dead, or if the chat is trolling, or if the chat's really positive, it all sends signals. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of like the like and dislike.
That's really interesting that it comes from the community more so than the streamer at times, because I think we can agree with this, is that when you go into a stream and, you know, there's a dead chat or something, you're more likely to lurk, you know, more than anything else.
Yeah.
Well, with an interactive chat, like you go over to Nick's and he is super interactive. Like, dude, he's just in, flying, jokes. It's like, you can see the chat going, everything like that. And to me, that's my vibe. I'm not saying it's everyone's vibe, but I go onto Twitch to be interactive. Don't get me wrong, I lurk at times. Let's not get past that. Sometimes I do, you know, work and Twitch is on in the background. But if I ever just want to chill out, I'll watch YouTube, because I don't have to feel like, hey, I'm here, here's subscription, you know, that kind of thing. But when I'm on Twitch, I want to interact with said streamer. And that really, to me, depends on the chat, how it's going, and obviously the personality on the screen. What do you reckon, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is that you're gonna have those types of channels who are just gonna be heavy lurker channels, where maybe they have like super chilled out streams, and majority of the people just tend to lurk and watch. So the chat isn't going to be the most active, but their viewer count is still quite high. So there's so many different types of channels and different scenarios. It literally just would come down to your preference and what you're personally looking for. Like, are you hunting for a chilled channel and you find someone who's just kind of seems chilled, chat isn't moving too fast? Maybe that's your vibe. Maybe you can keep up with the messages while you just kind of lurk in the background. Or maybe you're looking for a little bit more. Maybe you want to get involved a little bit, or just maybe you just want to watch chaos unfold and just sit back with popcorn. Like,
that's most of our streams. I reckon we go full chaos, and we're just like, hopefully it works and it's all together.
Maybe.
But LJ, you had some polls that you were talking about beforehand, and I'm interested to get onto these polls.
Oh yeah, so I've been doing. You guys know that I've got my community polls that I post on Stream.
I love your community
essentially
polls.
I just ask questions about streaming, how people use platforms, what do they feel about things. Like, one of my favorite ones I ask, and I think I talked about this one last week for you guys, is one of my favorite ones I asked was, if you're going to start streaming from scratch tomorrow, where would you pick, right? And we had like 7,800 votes in that. And the three options were Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Facebook had 2%, Twitch had 80%, and then YouTube had like 20% or something like that. I can't remember. It was roughly that. But I asked that again
Ooh.
3 months later, I decided I would ask that again. I asked this earlier this week because to me, I was curious whether or not the ideas had changed because of the Ludwig and the Tim the Tatmans and all those shifts, right?
All those moves.
And so I just said, I asked the exact same one. And I've also got the old stats here. Sorry. It's Twitch was 80%, YouTube was 18%, Facebook was 2% with 7.2K votes.
Okay.
The new one. So this is, we're at 6,547 votes. This has only been up for about 2 days now. It's still up, still picking up votes. But we have seen a shift in people's opinions in the sense that Facebook, still 2% for Facebook.
Bless.
But YouTube has gone from an 18% to a 26%. And Facebook and Twitch, has dropped down from 80 to 72%. So Twitch has lost a little bit of the general consensus towards, well, it's still the consensus, but they've lost a little bit of ground, which I think is really interesting, honestly, especially with the Ludwig move not exactly being smooth.
Yes. The banning. Yes.
Yeah. So I thought that was really interesting to see that. But can I go back to the active chatter stuff first?
Please.
Because this is something on the YouTube side of things that I think is really, really interesting. And I think we all agree here to an extent that if you want to be successful long-term as a streamer, you essentially need to become a YouTuber, like a YouTuber first, right? You need to be having a mindset in your head of how can this content be translated into a appropriate YouTube video that is packaged and marketed well with a beginning, middle, and end. Off it goes. Did you guys see the clip of Northern Lion with the over-involved chatters?
I did. I did. I have varying views on this, but you take the lead, please.
So I watched that, and there's a little bit more context for it. Essentially, it was one chatter who was just being very over-involved, is the polite way of putting it, right? Okay. And I think we all get people like that, right? Who, sometimes there are community members, and this isn't a bad thing, who just will overstep, or they'll try and take over a segment of sorts or something like that. Because there are tools where streamers allow their audience to engage, such as TTS and other things. And sometimes they do them at the wrong time. Maybe you're in a really intense cutscene and they'll drop a TTS that's like random, or you see it all the time where someone's like about to hit 500,000 subs and they're live streaming like the count, and someone drops some really depressing TTS or something like that, right? Like these things happen, and sometimes people just don't read the vibe. And I have recently been thinking a lot about chat activity and content, right? Because I'm doing a shite load of research into moving over to creating YouTube content for my streams.
Yep.
And the thing I've found with editing down, I've edited maybe like 15, 20 of my streams down, right? And I've only posted maybe 2 or 3 of them because it's just whether I'm happy or not with the content. And the thing I'm finding most is that the videos are incredibly difficult to edit down the more interactive you are with your chat. They're also way harder to watch the more interactive you are with your chat. Because it's a disconnect between it. And I go through and I look at all the content creators who are very successful and who have grown, and I look at their old content to their new content, and it usually comes across that there is minimal chat interaction in the terms of the back and forth, which is really interesting because that also makes it that essentially you're going to have a slower chat. Like that's just a fact. You will have a slower chat if you aren't back and forthing with your chat, especially at our size, the 100 to 200 viewer, Andy's like us. And I've been thinking a lot about this, and it's really made me rethink how I produce content, because if my streams can't be turned into videos, well, then there's no permanence. There's no evergreen to it, right? Like some of the best streams I've had are the ones where they're collabs. So Reapz, the easiest one to edit was yours. Then another one was Devour that I did with one of my mods, came into VC. We didn't even talk to chat once, right? Like, and it was the easiest thing to edit down because essentially it's a recording session, right? I did a Hitman stream, right? And in that Hitman stream, it was essentially I did an hour on one level, and I said the stupid idea or the premise of this is that I am a terrible photographer, I'm a terrible artist, and I want to take a photo, an artsy photo of every single person before I kill them, right? And I just thought it was such a stupid idea to gather evidence before you murdered someone.
A memento.
And that was also one of the easiest ones, because in the hour, I was literally just role playing. I don't think I spoke to chat like once, right? And don't get me wrong, my view count did drop. It dropped from like 130 to 90. My just chatting segment was 130, and then I went into Hitman and it went down to 90.
Yeah.
And then everyone who was still there said it was amazing content, right? Edited it down, released it, 500 views, right? And I keep thinking to myself, do I want the extra 30 average viewers that came from that and the chat activity? Or do I want 90 viewers, or fuck it, even 50 viewers?
Yeah.
But then to get a video that has 500 and is still getting views today.
That's great.
And it's such an, and I really want your opinions on this, because like we live and breathe off of our average viewership, and we connect our self-worth to those numbers.
Yes.
Which is terrible for the mental.
Exactly, right?
It's
right?
So bad.
But would you feel better? Would you be more comfortable as a content creator? Would you feel more confident with a slow chat if you knew for a fact that just because it's slow doesn't mean it's not going to turn into a banger YouTube video, right? Put your self-esteem in the something else will be released. Obviously you can just record stuff offline.
Of course.
But then you're not seed sprouting, which is essentially creating one bigger piece of content and then filtering it into other pieces.
And it's double the time you've got to, invest into doing it. Nick, do you want to take this first?
Yeah. I was like thinking about that for a second. I'm so used to one of the reasons like we do stream is for like the interaction. So
100% right.
Thinking about it from that regard is so it's almost like a 180. It's like a brain explode moment. I don't know. I think it's difficult because you still like, I think it'll really depend person to person. I think for me, I do love to have the active chat. I want to like talk to people, and I think there's ways to go about it. Like you've got people who are, as they're playing, they're looking left, they're talking, responding as they're doing things. And then that's what creates it a bit hard to edit. Cause like we went through the same thing, what you're saying, LJ, when I was doing like Psychonauts on stream. And then we took those streams and then we're editing them down into little episodes for YouTube. And like you get those disconnects, and like Izzy had to edit, she had to, cut out anytime a raid came in, and, anytime that I was like talking a lot to chat. And then sometimes I might have done some gameplay stuff, and then all of a sudden we've lost that bit of gameplay or that moment or something. So yeah, I think part of me, says that it would be nice to have that easier content that can flow over. But I think the majority part of me is like, still saying no. I still want to have that active chat, that engagement, because that's the main thing that I want from it. So yeah,
that's
the balance is so tough though, right? Because if you're going to take a second to respond to a chatter, it's almost like you need to stop what you're doing so it can just be cut out perfectly without having the loss. Right? One of the things that I found in one of my videos was I was responding to a chat message, and then something really funny happened to Reapz in one of the videos, right? And because I was responding to the chat message, it took away from that really funny moment, right? So much so that I just cut it entirely, because even though watching Reapz be like, I'm not too worried about the ghost, bam, a hunt starts, and then him going, no, like running to the door, and then me slamming the door in his face, right?
Yeah.
But because at the start where he's like, I'm not afraid of the ghost, it's actually just like me being like, hey, Bootyman69, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Come on in. How you doing? Oh, Reapz just died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that was like a big moment for me where I'm like, that's rough. I lost a really good moment. I lost a part that I would include in the first 15 seconds of a video because it has such a good hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Collab streams make it really difficult. And I find myself doing that a lot these days, especially I've been playing Link's Awakening. Like I'll literally just pause the game. And even with Breath of the Wild, I was doing the same. I just literally pause the game, take some time, catch up with chat for a little bit. Once I catch up, go back, focus on it for a little bit, and just kind of flip flop between it to try and find that balance.
It is a hard balance, as you were saying before, because going back to the Northern Lion thing about the overactive chatter, as some may call it, because
involved is
the over-involved chatter. That's the right way of phrasing it. It is hard because one, when you are on Twitch, your priority in my mind, it's like I'm putting on a performance. This is how I always think. I'm putting on a performance and I'm there to entertain the people that are watching me because they're taking time out of their day. Some of them are subs, some of them have given me bits, things like that. And I feel like a loyalty to that to obviously like, thank you so much for letting me do this. Here's my entertainment for you. So I'm obviously going to interact. But you're right. In terms of the whole evergreen process, it's so much harder to edit as well. And I know that there's times when I can it's very funny because some people are there to have that just engagement of me. Sometimes I do react Andes, right? That's easy content. For me, that's easy content, right? And then some people in chat are like, when are you playing this game that I said that I was going to play today? And it's always seems to be this balancing act between, okay, chat wants this, but I need this for YouTube. And like, where is the line? For me, I think in terms of prosperity for me and what I do have to take that hit to viewership or things like that to get that content. Because I think in the long run, if you do have that video that lasts forever, because, you know, with Twitch, unless you save them yourself, they go out after a month, 2 months, whatever it is.
6 months if you're a Prime sub like me.
Hey, you dirty dog.
Bought Amazon Prime just so I could have things arrive on time. Spent $600 on an Amazon stream.
That's what we call content, people.
Excellent.
So, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I think in the long run, you cannot go past the fact that your YouTube is going to be that vault that anybody can dip into and go, I remember this, nostalgia. Oh, this is new, yada, yada. That gives more of a connection because it's available anytime. While with Twitch, you're only available for the times that you're live unless you want to watch, you know, long form VODs. So it is a very hard balancing act. But to me, I would rather take the hit because I've done streaming nearly for 5 years now. It's not to say that I don't appreciate it, but in terms of me staying sane and mentally sane of, you know, diversifying, I have to sometimes let it go and just go, I know that I'm going to take a hit. I know this is probably not what people want to see at the moment, but it's only for a small section and then I can bring it back in other ways, maybe in future streams, things like that. That's my thinking of it at the moment. But again, we're on different paths. No,
like
I've got the best poll for you now. I have the best fucking poll for you. Holy yes. All right. You just said to me, streams are live and you can only watch them when you watch them.
Yep.
Right. Those are the words you just said to us. Okay, I've run, these have only been posted in the last like 2-3 days. But essentially I ran a series of polls and I ran them in this order, okay? Do you watch streams daily? Okay, very broad. Do you just watch any stream? Do you click onto Twitch or YouTube streams daily? That's essentially it. Do you watch streams daily? It could be anyone, okay? As I said, I only just posted these in the last couple of days. So this poll's only received 3,000 when I screenshotted it. I think it's already up to 4,000 now.
Nice.
35% says, yep, every day. 65% says, nope, just when I can.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's a big sign there. Out of like 3,000 people who had voted at this stage, 65% of them said they don't watch streams daily. Okay. Let's get more specific. Okay, this is going to be much harder to answer. Do you watch the same streamer every time they go live? Okay, and this came down. This one's really fresh. This only got 1,100 votes on it when I screenshotted this. 22% said, "Yep, every time." So they watch it every time that streamer goes live. 78% said, "Nope, just when I can." Okay, which makes sense. It's harder to watch a single streamer every time than it is to watch any stream daily.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's take the harder version of that. Do you watch the same YouTuber daily? Okay. Do you watch the same streamer every time they go live, or do you watch the same YouTuber daily? 63% of people said, yep, every day I watch the same YouTuber. 37% said, nope, just when I can.
Wow.
If that doesn't show people how crucial it is to have that mindset of where is this stream going to go, like there's nothing else, right? Because that really, I think, should hammer home for everyone how just flippant a live stream is. It just disappears, right? Like we hit that end stream button, no one goes and watches our VODs.
No.
Like maybe a few people who are like really keen who just couldn't watch that one stream, watch it the next day.
Yeah.
Or if it's a big playthrough like a Pokemon Nuzlocke, maybe they'll go and watch the one they missed because they want to be up to date for when they watch tonight, right? But man, I feel like that because I did these 3 polls because I have a video coming up essentially.
Okay.
And this was like a big moment for me to be like, this should open up every new creator's eyes that a stream should be a secondary engagement tool, whereas a YouTube should be your intent focus. Because at the end of the day, you can have the same community coming back every single day supporting you.
Yeah.
Or you can kind of just struggle along until you get in and out. And this is a thing I've had to come to terms with hard over the last like year. And it's only recently since I've started focusing YouTube where I'm really starting to push harder and harder into the idea of just, if I want to do this long term, I got to take this massive hit to my viewership. And I've already taken it. I was a 200 viewer Andy, and now I'm a 120.
Yeah.
Right. But that's all because I've realized none of this content becomes anything.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to out this person, but I know another streamer who's had really good growth thanks to TikTok. And they admitted on stream the other night that they clip farm. They before a stream, if they have a premise, that they will come up with like a couple different clips and plan out exactly how these clips would go down and what it is. And then they'll just make it happen, right? And they farm these clips and turn them all into TikToks, and they get really good growth. And they
That's
still
crazy.
they're like, yeah, I clip farm. I plan my clips. And they were like, you plan your reactions to things? How dare you? But like, I think that's such a genius and important thing to do because I farm clips when I can. Like I'll accidentally say the wrong word because people think it's funny and they clip it.
Yeah, for sure.
Or like when you're in a game and you're like, you purposely do the wrong thing, or like you will purposely do something or interact a certain way because you know that it's going to be a funny moment.
Correct.
Yeah. I was playing Breath of the Wild for the very first time. This was years ago now, but I was playing, I guess 18 months ago for the very first time. And I was in that goddamn early puzzle where you drop a ball and it just like, you got to roll it through a maze and then flip it and it goes into a thing, right?
Yeah.
And
Nick knows it well.
yeah. So I flipped the ball. It went out. It was all good. But there's a chest in that maze as well. So I was like, cool. And I set the maze up and then I went and ran and jumped into the maze, went and got the chest, came back out. But I couldn't make the jump back out of the maze. All right. And everyone was like, just fall. You've got enough health and you just respawn at the start. It's not a death. Just fall. And I was like, no, I don't want to. And I hadn't watched a lot of Breath of the Wild. This is a full blind playthrough.
Yeah.
So what I did was I placed, like, I knew I could fall. They told me I could fall. But I was like, that's boring content. So I placed a bomb further up. And as it started rolling down, I ran, jumped into the air between the two gaps, exploded the bomb, and it ragdolled my body up over the ledge. And I was like, hey, and just walked out, right? And I was like, that's a fucking good clip, right? And like people are like, oh, why don't you just fall? Because that is the boring approach to the content, right? And I think people don't realize that, yeah, we could easily just make these things work. We could be good at games. Right? If we wanted to.
100%. And I can back this up. The amount of times that I completed a puzzle in Breath of the Wild, the stupidest way possible, I've lost count. I absolutely lost count. Like everyone would go, Nick, you're stupid. What are you doing? This is never going to work. And I'm like, just wait for it. This is going to work. I can see it working. Through sheer will and stupidity, I completed the puzzle, and it was amazing. And I got to tell chat, haha, I told you so. And it was it was amazing, funny moments. And a lot of those got turned into TikToks and did decently well on there. So it was.
That's what I mean. Like you have that foresight, and that's a good thing because I think a lot of people, I know, especially for Nintendo games, I'm telling you, dudes, I love playing Nintendo games, but I hate streaming Nintendo games for one simple fact. There are always the know-it-alls that come into the chat and are like expecting you to speed run it, even though it's your first time playing it.
I believe they're called 12-year-olds.
Yeah. They are what you're talking about with the Lions clip in terms of this is how you should do it. And they're like, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing this? If you do this, there's watch out for this bit. There's a secret comment. It's like, please understand that I'm going in blind here. I don't care. If you want to watch a speedrunner, please go to a speedrunner's channel. I'm here to entertain and hopefully make you laugh about how dumb I am. That's my gimmick. That's what I'm known for. But I swear every time, especially Pokemon, especially Mario.
Oh yeah.
They
Pokemon
come in and they're like,
yeah.
what are you doing? What are you? And I'm just like, oh, that's why it pains me. It's like, I really want to play this, but streaming it torments me at times.
Dude,
Yeah, it's just
I have a command called !blind, and it's less about spoilers and more just hey guys, LJ's trying to make fun content, not shit content. Like I think it's that's what it used to say. It actually used to say it would, if you exclamation mark blind and you'd at the person, and then the bot would spit back at the person. LJ wants to make good content, not shit content.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that.
like,
Amazing.
But then one of my mods was like, maybe we should be a little less harsh. And I was like, all right, yeah, sure, whatever.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, we should keep these people.
But man, like it blows my mind with Nintendo games, and we think we've got it bad with like games like that. But I know a streamer called Bite Sized who's she's a really good Smo speedrunner. I think she's like, for any percent, I think she gets like an hour and 6 or something like that, which I think is really respectable for any kind of speedrunner for that game. She even made her own category that people have like started picking up attention to called Dino Percent. We have to go capture every dinosaur.
Cool.
And stuff.
That's awesome.
It's really cool, right? Tried to play Breath of the Wild. I think they did 2 streams and then quit. The backseating was horrendous for her. Like it was like way worse than I've ever seen in anything. Just a blind speed, not even a speed run, sorry, just a blind playthrough of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
And it was like her entire chat was just people telling her she was stupid or telling her to do other things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just mods being like, hey, just let her play the game.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and like, dude, it's so consistent with like every female streamer I watch. If you watch them and they play a new game that is beloved, they just get fucking backseated and shit on so much, dude. It is rough. I couldn't take it.
I don't
I get annoyed.
understand people who are just, they'll just come in, like, they just feel like there's just the level of entitlement is just, I can't even fathom it. They come in just being like, "Bah, bah, 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 keyboard warrior. No, you're doing it wrong. You're wrong. Listen to me. I'm the know-it-all. I'm this random person in chat that's just arrived and you should listen to me." Like,
And most of the time they're wrong.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like they'll be like, oh, you send out your Clefairy to verse the Steelix. So you send out Clefairy and then the Steelix is steel type, so it does more damage to fairy types and you get 1 hit. And it's like you fucking idiot. Why do they listen to you? You Twitch chatter.
Are we getting some, is this some trauma? Are we airing some trauma here, LJ?
Guys, we're gonna have to stop the podcast. We'll be back to it soon.
I just lost my like 2-week long Brilliant Diamond Nuzlocke.
Yeah.
Right? On the Elite 4. Yeah. And I had it set up so this Clefairy was essentially going to try and carry me through a particular mon in Cynthia, the champion. Okay. And I sent it out for a Steelix or something, and I got fucking hit by a steel move, and it was dead. And the only reason I sent it out was someone was like, I think your Clefairy with Flamethrower will do the job here. And I was like, you know what? I will trust that because Flamethrower will do well against steel. Yeah. And I just got my shit pushed in, and I was like, I was so angry. I was so mad.
Did you clip it, or were you like, no, this is not content. This is just me like raging and soul.
I wasn't raging. I was just like in shock. Okay. Right. And it's like, you know how I was like, but so I didn't clip it or anything. I need to get better at doing my own clips again these days. I've been a bit lacking lately. But moving on from rage and talking about clips and analytics, have you guys seen the brand new analytic that just dropped?
No. What is this?
Just before we get to this, sorry, I just wanted one quick thing I wanted to quickly add, just on the sort of like treating streams more evergreen. One of the best people I've seen doing this is Small Ant.
Oh yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Small Ant is
so good.
Just incredible. Like he'll plan a specific idea and then just turn that into a video that's narrated and scripted like that.
That narration is how he gets away with talking to chat 90% of the time as well. Because he'll have all of the clips and footage and the narration is what makes it easy. I'm lazy and I don't want to have to deal with the narration side of things because it adds so much more work that I don't have time to do. Yeah. But like him, Point Crow, and people like that are so talented at it. And speaking of Small Ant, thank you, Nick.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey. He commented on my video yesterday.
Oh, nice. Look at you.
He watched my 32 tips for growth video, which is the one where I ask people to comment how many out of the 32 they're doing. Yeah. And he just commented 24 out of 32 with his 2 million sub YouTube account. Thanks, man.
Look, you're in, dude.
I wrote back to him. I said, I hope this wasn't too boring for you. I use your content as an example for clickable packaging, premise, and growth all the time. Love the beard these days. Little sucky there.
Yeah. I like it though. You got to show it.
And he wrote back, seemed like good advice overall. Sunglasses emoji. And I was like,
you're in, son. You
slap that on the box and ship it, you know?
Put that on his business card.
And so I did. I tweeted out the exchange and I said, you know, fuck yeah. And it's pretty cool, dude. I'm honestly real proud of it.
That's awesome, man. But that goes back into the point of, as you said, YouTube should be like the intent, because you are now have some sort of conversation. Like you've got a relationship with a big time streamer. You know what I mean? Like even if it is an interaction, that's a thing.
We're getting dinner. We're besties.
Oh, hello. All right, take photos.
Funny thing is, I actually DM'd him. Not recently. I DM'd him months and months and months ago. I don't know how long ago it was. This is like way before I even like met you, Reapz, or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I DM'd him December 13th, 2020, because I was doing a video about YouTube growth.
Yeah.
And I was going to use him as one of my biggest examples, because I use him and Point Crow as examples, because I think those are the best examples and the easiest to understand for a new gamer.
Yeah.
To say like, they are doing a game, but they are adding a unique premise and packaging it well. Like look at their thumbnails. And Small Ant's titles are really, really good. For example, a lot of people fuck their titles up. Their titles will be like, Phasmophobia, but the ghost does, well, no, it'll just be something weird, right? It'll be Phasmophobia, but, and then some funny joke that they think is funny, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that 99% of people on YouTube don't understand or are in on the context. So it needs to be like, even the Phasmophobia thing is too much, right? It should just be like, I do X, but this is Y. And you just give the full example. Like look at Small Ant's channel and it's just stuff like Pokemon, but I added too many rules. Right? That is so simple. That's such a good one. So I use him all the time. So I reached out to him in December being like, hey, my name's Eljayem. I'm a video SEO. I'm doing a video and I want to talk to you about your I want to talk about your stuff. And I just want to make sure my facts are right. And I essentially broke down and I was like, you started doing this stuff here. I can see from your social blade, this is how you grew. This is which video picked up first. Because you can see it all, right?
Yeah.
Like Smant is young enough on YouTube that you can actually see his entire growth trajectory and which videos picked up. And it's all stuff like, I won't go too deep into it, but he started doing guides, which got him a few subs here and there. He got big in the YouTube, in the speedrunning community for Super Mario Odyssey, because he was doing guides on how to run it. Cool. And then he started dropping videos that were heavily clickable, packaged really well towards the Mario Odyssey community. So he had all these guides for Mario Odyssey and for speedrunning. And then he dropped, I was the third person to complete this speedrun, right? And it was the minimum captures, I think 13 caps speedrun. Okay. And then he keeps doing some other stuff. And the video that really popped off for him was, I attempted to beat Mario Odyssey blindfolded.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. When he first released that, I believe he had 26 Twitch subs. 26 Twitch subs, and it has like millions of views on it, and it blew up, right? And the next one he released was, I did beat Super Mario Odyssey blindfolded. Both those titles have such high clickable potential to them. It's like, and also the retention rate is insane. Because on the first one, it's, is he going to beat it? I need to wait and watch. It's the Dream Hunter retention rate. Is Dream going to beat the Ender Dragon, or the Hunter's going to win? He could die at any moment, right?
Yeah.
Smaller had the same retention, and the clickability and the packaging on that video is insane, right? And then the second one of, I did beat it, instead of the will it happen, it's a promise. And you're like, I'm watching this because I want to see it happen and I know I'm going to get my payoff.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's a big thing. I honestly think Smant and Point Crow are the best gaming content creators on the entire platform in terms of how to package content for the largest demographic and grow.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Sorry for the little rant. I just have huge respect for him.
I completely agree, because I've been watching his videos for a while as well, and I have so much respect for what he does and how he does it as well. Like major respect. Like
he's a grinder. He's a smart grinder.
Yeah. Does it all like he was like his latest video completing the Pokedex for the BDSP in 24 hours. And he just did a 24-hour stream. He's like, I'm just going to do what I'm doing. I'm going to record this. Like basically all his recordings are live. And so he's making content for people who want to watch these videos live, and then they can go back and watch the fully edited thing later, which is like a 20-minute video or something.
And that's what I think is another big point that you just brought up there, is because he does do it like in the streams, which a lot of people do, but it's an immediate thing of like, I was there. You'll see at the start of most Ludwig videos, it's when he goes, boys, and then you see the chat scroll up with, hi YouTube, hi YouTube, hi YouTube. Like people want to be there and be a part of this stream because they know that maybe I could see myself on the video when it comes out, that type of thing. It's called
spectacle. So it's called spectacle content. That's what people are calling it these days, is the idea that you're creating YouTube content, but because you're also recording it live and you have your chat on screen, that people know it's live. Right. And people would feel like they're missing out because it is a spectacle. It was like, I was here when you beat the run. I was here when you beat this blindfolded. I was here for this spectacle or this idea. Ludwig's spectacle is the fact that Twitch chat is so usually interactive with punishments or giving them ability to be like, I'm going to donate a word that you're not allowed to say. Whereas Small Ant Spectacle is the sense that he does something amazing, right? And that people want to be there for it. And a lot of people these days are leaning heavily to try and create a premise that allows spectacle because they want users on YouTube to feel like they kind of missed out.
Yeah.
They kind of missed out if they weren't there live, which I think is huge.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Go on.
Speaking
Elton.
of-
Yeah.
Okay, speaking of missing out, you guys haven't seen the new Twitch analytics just dropped. A full percentile breakdown of active subs and what country they come from.
Oh, okay. Should we take guesses on this if you want to throw some questions our way?
So I stream, okay, here we go. I stream at 7:15 Australian Eastern Standard Time. Okay. PM. All right. Which means essentially I'm around at around 10 a.m. UK London time.
Okay.
And about 4 a.m. and 6 a.m. in America on the prospective coasts.
Okay.
Where do you think most of my subs are from?
Well, just from that, you think when you're woken up in the morning and you're kind of along with 4 to 6 a.m. is too early, I think, for some people. So I'm going to go with the very obvious one for me is the UK.
Okay.
I am going to say US. I'm going to say US on the premise that if a lot of people are watching in the morning, they're waking up, they're just kind of chilling, they're vibing, mostly lurking. They don't want to deal with ads, but they also want to support you. So I'm gonna go US.
Okay. All right. Do you guys want to do a secondary? What do you think is the second place?
Oh, okay, sure.
So
Australia.
you think Australia?
Yeah.
Okay.
I go Australia.
All right. I found out today that out of I think I'm currently at 453 active subs. This is the other thing is that's active. So I think I've got 500 subs right now, but 453 active, meaning that in the period it's showing, which is AKA last 30 days, these are the people who have watched my stream, who are active watching, right? Which I think is a really cool breakdown because there are a lot of people who sub and just never unsub because they want to support the creator, which I do have because of the YouTube channel. But out of my 453 active subs, 31% came from America.
31.
That is massive. That is a massive split for me. And I realize it's partly probably because daylight savings used to mean that it was like 7 a.m. and like 9 a.m. in the morning for America. So a lot of them were waking up in the morning and they'd watch me while they got ready for work and stuff like that. And because of COVID, they would watch me throughout the day.
Yeah.
Right. And that was huge, right? Daylight savings recently, I've had a huge hit to my chat activity. And I also found out about a month ago, most of my chat went back to the office.
Oh yes, of course. Yes, they did. Yeah.
So a lot of them are still watching, but I've had a huge hit to my activity. And now the people who are active are mostly Aussies and UK. But it's so interesting, isn't it? Because America used to be the thing. Second place, you are correct, it is Australia. Like 100% because it's 7:15 p.m. at our time.
I was going to say.
With 22%. And then Singapore is the other 22%.
Singapore.
Wow, really?
I was not expecting that.
Me neither. And then UK is only 10% of my subs. 10%. And I haven't talked about this on podcast and I haven't really talked about it much anywhere else, but I'm doing a new test stream on Monday mornings. I'm going to be streaming at like 10 a.m. Monday mornings because I've got such a huge American audience from YouTube that I wanted to test it out, but I've been really nervous to do it.
Yes.
But man, this set of analytics has really given me a bit more confidence to like jump in and just go live. Don't care about the view count. And just do, as long as I make the clickable go live, right? And I think my go live for this Monday is going to be leaking how much I make on YouTube, because I thought an NDA for that and I could just show it, right? But man, like that was crazy for me to see. And it'll be perfect for America time because 10 a.m. my time in the morning is like 7 p.m. and 4 p.m. America on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And then the UK I sadly won't be able to watch because it's midnight for them. But Australia can put it on in the background of work if they want to. Singapore can do the same. And I really thought it was interesting to see my active paid supporters are all American. And that time does technically work better for them.
Yeah, I have a question. How does that compare to the overall audience country split that you have for your channel?
That is a really good question. Let me pull it up.
That crossed my mind. I was like, now I'm extra curious how that crosses over.
So the only problem with that is, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, so you might need to cut this. My analytics split for where people watch me from is completely fucked, because I get front page a lot. So I'm on YouTube. Oh, sorry, I got a garbage bin outside my house. Let me close the window.
Oh, good.
So my problem is I'm on the Twitch front page a lot, like pretty much every single night around 10 p.m. I'll get put on the rotation because there's no Australians streaming at 10 p.m. at night most of the time, so I can get put at the front.
Nice.
So my analytic breakdown is just completely broken. It says like 60-70% Australia, which just is not the case.
Yeah.
It's just not. Like
Yeah.
it's just they're seeing me on the front page.
It's just being way like skewed quite heavily.
Yeah, so it kind of sucks. I wish it wasn't the case. Yeah, it says 54% Australia. But before I was getting front page, it was like 30-50% America.
Right.
But I just assumed it was people rocking up and then, you know, lurking or leaving. But the active subs is interesting. I still think it hammers home the test stream. But also I wish they took out the front page section. I wish they'd not like got rid of me. I like it. But I wish they separated the views for the location stuff better. Because it's also thrown off my views for platform. My views for platform now is like 76% web. And I know that's not the case. I know there's huge amount of people who watch from mobile or Chromecast or iOS app and stuff.
Yeah.
And knowing that, I wish I were like, for example, Twitch polls and predictions, kind of annoying to use on mobile. I don't know if you guys have ever used them. They're kind of annoying to use on mobile.
Yep.
I'm not.
It's super frustrating.
Yeah, especially if you're watching on Chromecast, to get your phone out and have to do it all and then open it up and find the channel points and go to the thing. So what I'm using now is I'm using the Mappy, which is the new poll system instead, which is the same one Ludwig uses in his stuff.
Okay.
Because that way anyone who just wants to chat can just press 1 and the poll just picks it up and it works. But I only started using that recently because I realized how annoying it is to use your poll stuff on your phone. And I didn't realize how many people were actually watching me on my phone because my analytics are just broken.
What's that thing called? What's the?
I can link it to you. It's just called ma.pe.poll or something like that, and it's just really good. It's just a browser source.
Awesome.
Okay.
I was going to say, Nick, for you, because obviously you stream it around the same time. Would you say that most of your viewers are Australian, or do you find that there's like more of a mix that you didn't, think would happen?
It's I'd have to I'm actually going to pull this up and double check, but it's actually the last time I checked, it was a somewhat even split between my Australian audience has grown quite substantially over the past year.
Is that partly because of grassroots, do you think? Because it's ANZ focused and they're pushing you to ANZ?
I definitely think it played a small part because like in my sort of like early few years on Twitch, a lot of the streams that I was hanging around in, because I was always on Twitch during the day for the most part. So I was hanging around in like a lot of American streamers and meeting a lot of like other American people. So that kind of how the audience kind of originally kind of established itself. And so only in the past like year or so has that shift changed. But yeah, grassroots definitely I think helped a lot to kind of reach more of a bit more of an Australian audience. It was a pretty even split between like US, UK, and Australia, kind of through the entire as the large majority. I
think it's really interesting to see the stats like that, though. Like, you can't take too much into it, but I think it's definitely made me feel more confident in branching out and doing a Monday morning just chatting stream, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I look at it and I go, well, that's people have just wrapped up work and school and stuff, so maybe it will be good.
That's my time, like because
I'm coming for it.
You're coming for it. I knew it, you son of a bitch. I was gonna say is I find that I prefer streaming during the day because I don't know, like at night I'm just so tired and I can make excuses all throughout, but I've always just been one that's. Yeah, I'm always one that just does it through the day and it's like, okay, I've done my work and I can focus on other things. It doesn't take as much energy because I know that once it gets to like, nighttime for me, I'm just like, I've got to somehow up that energy, which I don't usually have. And to me, it is an optimum time because I know that the majority of the people that watch me are from overseas, more so than Australia. I get the occasional Australian, but I would say like 80% are from like, North America or the UK, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
for
me. I'm the token Australian that arrives in your chat.
Yeah, exactly. And I've got to keep this. But that's part of the gimmick as well, is that they're so interested in what's the difference between Australia and America that I can really play into that.
Oh, we're just better.
Yeah. You heard it here first. I didn't say it. All right.
Yeah,
Don't come for me.
dude, that's where I'm screwed. If I go to the daytime time slot, I am absolutely screwed with how much I make fun of America.
Can
Can
you do an April Fool's stream where you just like have your entire stream upside down?
I was thinking of that.
And
Yeah,
then
I was
just be
thinking of
like,
that.
yeah, guys, I hacked into Twitch and I unlocked the Australian, correction filter.
Yeah, we no longer have to be under your tyrannical rule of Americanism. This is how it truly is. No, I was thinking because flat earthers, which we all believe in, obviously. You know how they say that Australia and New Zealand are fake? We're all actors. We're paid to say that we're from Australia and New Zealand
AI.
because according.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you guys
AI.
getting paid?
Well. Yeah, I'm so sorry to bring this to you, Eljayem. You've been working on commission, my friend, rather than.
I just thought I was getting exposure. God damn it.
Yeah, no, mate. No. But yeah, we should go into that, obviously. But what we'll bring at the very start is we're saying that what we hoped we achieved, our mistakes of Twitch as well. Did we want to go into that as the last segment of the day?
Yeah. I think I already kind of covered my mistake recently about the idea of like the one I wanted to talk about, which was the trying to create evergreen content. Because I always kind of thought, I've got Stream Scheme. Stream Scheme is my evergreen content. Blah blah blah. But also when you think about it, I don't really want to be doing education my entire career. At the end of the day, as cool as it is, as good as the CPM is, I'm an entertainer. I just happen to also be good at education. So for my mistake, I want to cover a mistake that I personally haven't made, but it's something that I'm seeing people make every single day, and I've got some polls.
Okay,
I've got some polls.
Okay,
Your polls are my new favorite thing. I love these.
This is it. If this podcast picks up and we get memes, I'm gonna be the poll guy.
Yeah. It's time to poll. Like we got to think of like a catchy phrase that comes into poll time.
We've got
LJ's big poll segment. How's that?
So we've got LJ's rants and
poll
LJ's
this
polls.
week. Yeah,
The segments are coming along well.
LJ's hot takes from last week with Streamlabs. Yeah,
no, it's poll takes.
I brought up the Streamlabs take on Twitch the other day, and someone said, "Oh, but it's open source software. You shouldn't have competition for open source software." And I was like, "But that's how people create better. That's how development happens. Is competition."
Bread,
anyway,
slice bread.
Anyway,
computers
moving on.
Made to order. Sorry, moving on. Yeah.
Okay, so series of polls. All right, and take away what you will from this. Okay, I asked, would you rather have 1,000 YouTube subscribers or would you rather have 1,000 Twitch followers? Okay, and 6,000 votes came in. What do you think won out with 61%?
Okay.
Oh, you guys have already seen the poll. Actually, I sent this to you, didn't I?
I have not. I've not seen it.
Okay,
I
cool.
don't remember it. I was going to say is with this poll. So this was asked on. Where was it asked? Sorry.
This was asked on YouTube with 6,000 votes. Would you rather have 1,000 YouTube subscribers or 1,000 Twitch followers? So this is on YouTube.
I'm going to say YouTube because that's where I was based, and I think more people will be leaning towards YouTube.
You're going to be very depressed to hear it. 61% want 1,000 Twitch followers.
What? What?
This is why they need the podcast. This is why they need the podcast.
Do they not?
Corrected.
Did they just forget that once you hit 1,000 subs, and obviously you need to hit your watch time hours, but like that's when you can begin YouTube monetization? Like,
Just wait. It gets worse. Next poll, 5,000 votes. Okay. Where do you watch more gaming content?
Okay.
5,000 votes. Where do you think won out?
I saw this one, so I'm not going to answer.
You take this. Oh, okay. Okay. So gaming content. Are we talking like games in general? Are we talking tournaments?
It says just gaming content.
Come on, it's got to be YouTube. I'm going to go back because it's always available. It's always available. YouTube.
Yep. That's exactly right. 66% said YouTube. So people would rather have 1,000 Twitch followers. They would rather, I also voted and said, where would you start from scratch? And people still say they want to start on Twitch. Okay. On YouTube, these are YouTube frogs who are clicking they want to become Twitch streamers.
Weird.
I also said to them, where do you, when you go to watch a Twitch stream, how do you find the stream? And I have the exact stats for you now, which was 62% that said straight to their followed streamers list. 20% said straight to my favorite streamer. 12% said straight to my favorite category to browse. And then 4% said they'll browse the homepage recommended. And then 2% said generally browse through most viewed categories. So it just instantly goes to show, if you actually want to be discovered, you've already got to have the follower essentially, right? Like,
yeah,
that's dead on the money. That's dead on. Yeah, far out.
All right. And then final one, are you currently creating YouTube shorts or TikToks to promote your stream? Because I was like, okay, so maybe they're not promoting their content with big form video because it's hard to do. Totally get it, right? Yeah. Let's be real. We all know the reason people say they want to stream is because streaming is a much easier thing to do than it is to create a video.
Yes.
64% said I post neither.
Infuriating. Absolutely infuriating.
Yeah. Out of 5,000 votes on that. Do you guys not think that is like such an interesting like disassociation between how they watch and absorb, like how people absorb and watch content versus what they want to be? Like, it's like, oh yeah, I absorb and watch all my content on YouTube. I like watching gaming content. I got other polls as well that says the same thing. Like, yeah, I just watch all my gaming content on YouTube. It's easier. Yeah. You know, I just watch my favorite, as I said earlier, I just watch my favorite YouTuber daily. Mm-hmm. Like there's all this stuff that says we are watching all of this content on YouTube. We're watching all this stuff on here, on these other platforms. But then when asked about it, they still prioritize and want Twitch followers. Yeah. Despite the fact that Twitch followers have nothing towards the metric after getting 50 followers.
I think it's a form, I may be completely off base here, but I think that when people see themselves being a streamer, they do see it more as, when they imagine it, they see themselves at their peak. I'm talking XQC levels, Ludwig, all that type of things. Yep. And they don't understand that there's a huge journey before getting there. They just see the finer things. It's like, well, if I'm rich, then I can have everything I want, but there's no journey up to being rich. So that's why I believe they're just like, I'm talented enough, I'm good enough. And they, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who are talented enough, good enough, and, you know, can make content out the wazoo. That should definitely be up there. But as we've talked about many, many times, it's about the consumption and that you are competing against literally millions of streamers go live on Twitch every month, and you've got to compete against them. And how are they going to find you? You have to be discoverable. So I believe that when they do these polls, they just see themselves in those positions of the big players rather than they themselves. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I imagine that they are voting.
No, you make a lot of sense of that. But I think there's also a big part, and this is something that kind of leads into sort of like one of my mistakes, I guess, that you could say, is that I got too comfortable and a bit lazy for a long time. Where
I feel you.
Yeah. I didn't like, after a few years, that's like, obviously that's when I tried to take the content creation a bit more seriously. But I knew for a while that I should be kind of making more content on other platforms, but kind of didn't. And there's multiple factors that I won't get into because there's a lot of things around that. Everyone has their own lives going on, and you know, so many things, mental struggles and whatever. But I think when it comes down to it, like obviously there's a lot more tools these days that make it a lot easier. But I think a lot of people, it goes back to a thing we touched on last week, where you were streaming so much. Like a lot of people just stream so much when they first start. I have always really done like 4 days a week. But I kind of look back and I think I actually kind of wish that I did like maybe 2 to 3 days and spent that little bit extra to kind of sit down and do some editing and just like, okay, I'm just going to edit one clip and just kind of start off with sort of like a really digestible goal. Like I'm going to edit one clip this week. I've got an entire week just to edit one clip and just build that routine. And I wish I did a lot of that earlier, because it would just have set up a lot more momentum in the early days.
Going back to those goals and failures, I'm going to go off that, Nick, because I had the very same thing. I wanted this year to be about my YouTube growth, and I didn't attain what I wanted to do because I got lazy and I, just got complacent, which is a terrible thing to have happen.
I think this year we all saw pretty decent Twitch growth, right? That's the big part of it, right?
Yeah.
So I think all of us kind of got comfortable in that sense, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's that thing of, when I do, because I know about the evergreen, and I definitely do want to take a different approach. And I think that now I definitely want to make YouTube videos more, like have more content for people out there. But again, I think you bring up a very good point in terms of short-term content, because I know if I'm starting off on streaming and I've never done it before, this can be overwhelming in terms of OBS, how to learn that, in terms of going live, what's the best metrics, all these things. You can get inundated with all this information. And the biggest tip that I always give everyone is like, what tips would you give someone to start streaming? I would literally just say, just do it, because you can be told every single thing, but you don't understand it. Nobody's going to watch your first stream. I'm sorry to be that like pessimistic person, but the majority of people, you can tell your friends that you're going live and stuff, but to be found with 0 followers and 0 viewers on a game that I'm guessing you may want to do a big game or even a niche game, you have to work your way up. And the way to do that is how we're talking about it. And it's going to be a gradual process. You're not just going to like balloon up after a day, because I think the biggest mistake, and I had this as well, when I first started, I was like, if I got rated by a really big streamer, I'm going to make it for life, you know?
Yeah.
And as we talked about, there's that huge drop off the next day because, again, people through your polls go straight to who they follow. They don't know you. They just did it to be kind for that one time, the hype train. And then they realize that it's just another streamer, unfollow. I've had that. I've had a big raid. And then you see, oh, so many followers. And then the next day, I thought I had this amount of followers, but now it's dropped to this because it's all part of the hype. So yeah, that's a big mistake.
Yeah.
Something that's really interesting to me is that whenever I talk about those polls in videos, a lot of people will say things like, yeah, but LJ, you're asking these polls on YouTube. Of course, the people voting in them are going to say they absorb more YouTube content, right? Don't be an idiot. But then I always show them this one, which I haven't mentioned to you guys. I asked, what platform do you post the most content on? Okay. This got 5,700 votes. I asked this a few months ago. 59% came back and said they post the most on Twitch. 21% said they post the most on YouTube videos / shorts. And then 7% said TikTok they post the most. 8% Instagram, which I thought interesting to see Instagram was the same as TikTok, especially because it's not promoted as heavily to use. Yeah. And then 4% said Twitter. So I thought that was really interesting, right? Because people like to say, well, if they're voting on the poll on YouTube, they're going to vote that they spend more time on YouTube. It's like, okay, then why are they posting the most content to Twitch?
Yeah.
And this is another thing is I get comments, like hundreds of comments, right? Who say, what a bit, sorry?
Yeah.
What's a hype train? Sorry, what are channel points? What's a kappa? And it's like, hold on, how often do you stream? I stream 6 hours a day. Okay, do you watch any other stream content?
Yeah.
Do you absorb the Twitch culture? Because if you don't have the Twitch culture, you're not going to grow in the slightest. Like if someone joins and says Capra and you go, what's that? They're going to be like, what?
These answers are so fascinating to me. Like it's so like legitimately fascinating to me. The thing is though, right? Are they saying they primarily post Twitch content because let's say they're doing like 10, 20 minute video a week, but they're streaming like 4 times a week? Is that why they're saying more so Twitch? That's why I'm kind of thinking about it.
From the comments, I can delve into the comments for you if you want.
Ooh,
from the comments, essentially, it's people just going live. They just don't make other content. Like, listen to this guy. I'm grinding, but I'm not getting anywhere. But yeah, I post mostly to Twitch, and then sometimes I'll post TikToks. Like, that is, and then this guy here, come on YouTube, please, you need to be higher than 21%. What are you doing? Yeah, I agree, Big Dog Rules. What are they doing? Right?
I love Big Dog Rules, a good friend of mine.
I post on Twitch. However, I also post on TikTok. I used to post on YouTube though. Okay, cool. Yep. Like, it's not a matter of, they're just generally doing more and they're not. Like these people, most of them are saying, yeah, I just spend most of my time on Twitch. They're like, yeah, I'll post the easy stuff, but I won't post big videos. Like most of it, like I'm a Twitch streamer. I am planning to build out TikTok or maybe even YouTube, and then I'll transition. Like,
yeah.
What?
That's
yeah.
What that's crazy. It makes me wonder how long they've been heavily consuming content on these platforms before they decided to actually start creating content. I
think most people do not watch Twitch streams.
Yeah, I think it's almost like, no, I've got to spend more of my time actually streaming than watching. Otherwise, if I'm not live, I'm not going to grow. Like, well, yes, but that's
not how it goes.
No,
because I'll tell you what, I can get more followers going into another person's stream and chatting with people than I would going live. You know what I mean? Like, because I have an immediate reaction to people. I can take my time. I can talk to them more so than when you're talking to, 10s and 20s, 30s people, at the same time. The biggest thing that I would give as a tip also that I think is an amazing thing, because this is how I got started on Twitch in terms of picking up a following, and I'm going to pass it on to you guys right now.
I'm writing this down.
Yeah. Oh, you son of a bitch. This is on my, okay, anyway. So it's the best thing that you can do is follow every big streamer, even if you don't like them. it doesn't matter if you don't watch them to a degree, but you do have to go into their stream and see what makes them obviously have that following, what's different about them. And because as we're talking about before, if you don't know what a kappa is, if you don't know what bits are, if you go into this stream and you go to XQC and you see all these, Papega frogs, all this, Omega lulls and stuff like that, you're immediately part of a culture.
Say Omega? Say Omega lulls?
Omega lull? Well, I said Omega
It's
lull.
Omega. You fucking YouTube frog. It's
What?
Omega lull.
I said Omega lull.
No, you said Omega, like Omega 3.
No, it might just slip down a little bit there.
That's my Australian thing going through. That's how I pronounce stuff.
What's a cuppa?
lull. You son of a... Okay, this is content. All right. But you've got to be in that. So, and the big thing that I did back in the days, because I followed these huge streamers, right? Soda Poppin is a variety streamer. And he always plays variety games that are not in the top 10 until he plays them himself, right? So I remember specifically, there was a game called Welcome to the Game that came out, right? It was a horror game, and it was him playing it and 2 other streamers. So you know what I did? I did the old leech. I did the old parasite, whatever you want to call it, the piggyback, whatever it is. And I streamed that game while he was playing it. Because once he then switched to another game or ended his stream, and people who liked that game would then go, who else is streaming this game? I really like it. Maybe they'll, complete it because Soda didn't complete it. And then they'll go over to me. And then that's when obviously you can get those follows, you can get those eyes on you that you normally wouldn't have. You've got to play it smart. You've got to see why the big streamers are there. Even if you don't like them or are not going to watch them, it's good to have on your list to see what they're playing. Like Among Us. Remember when that blew up? Like if you got on that early, like 5up did, like you can make that a big source. So you have to know exactly what the landscape of streaming, what content creation is, and hop right on it.
Yeah.
Two things to add to that.
Yep.
That's what you did also uses like the only form of algorithmic recommendation that Twitch has, like one of the only forms, in the sense that if you watch a category, Twitch will say to you, do you want to see more of that category on the homepage? But as we know, most people don't use the homepage.
Yeah.
But it still will like connect the dots and say, oh, this person streamed X, so that person streamed X. And sometimes they will recommend your stream on the sides and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the second thing to add to that with the Among Us thing, it is, I won't mention names because I feel like it's kind of, this isn't a dig at them in any way whatsoever, but I feel incredibly bad for some of the partners who streamed Among Us, ballooned to like 1,000, 2,000, 500, whatever it is. And then the moment the Among Us trend fell off and they tried to switch to variety content, they went back down to like 50, 100 viewers, like not terrible numbers, right? Better numbers than they started with. They started with like 50 or 100 anyway, and then they balloon up and they come back down. But watching them try and recapture that is incredibly rough. Like you see people like every Friday they stream Among Us for half the day.
Yeah.
And then they switch over and do something else. And you go look at their Twitch tracker and it is legitimately like they stream Among Us. They're getting 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. And they're like, and we're done with Among Us Fridays. I'm going to play, insert really popular new game that I'm really excited to play and I'm super keen for it. It's going to be good content. And they literally just tank to 50 within like 10 minutes. Like, and their chat just completely dies. And it is just like, fuck. Like that's a big part about chasing these trends. If you don't have the personality and the content to shift, you're in so much trouble, man. Like it's so rough.
That's it's super unfortunate. It's that's the thing. It's really, really tough. And I've kind of been experiencing a little bit of that recently, where Breath of the Wild, I was doing my first playthrough and then I eventually finished it, and I was doing really, really well with Breath of the Wild, and I was like, well, where do I transition to from here going forward? And then, so we transitioned to Link's Awakening. So still in the Legend of Zelda franchise, like it's a first playthrough, really adorable game. But it is also it's basically a dead category. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
This is either could go well or could not go so well. Like maybe the viewers that have been watching me with Breath of the Wild will enjoy watching more Legend of Zelda content.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't quite go the way that I wanted it to, where we did have a little bit of a dip. But we're still like, I'm still enjoying myself. The community's still enjoying it and having fun. But yeah, the transitions are really, really tough, especially at the beginning. Like if you transition to another longer game, like the early transition's going to be rough. And then a lot of the time it'll slowly build back up again, depending on the game. and
Exactly.
you as well.
And you've got to start somewhere, like, because it's never going to be like, as soon as you switch to a new game, it's like, wow, I got 500 viewers. You have to establish yourself in that community. And then they're like, oh yeah, I can tune in and I can see, you know, the next progression, like a kind of episodic thing, you know, like will Nick finally make it to, you know, Ganondorf and, you know, destroy everything like that. You know what I mean? But
Funnily enough, if you don't finish a game, you actually become you'll lose viewers. This is really interesting. I don't think people realize this. If you don't give them a solid ending, whether it's beating the game or whether it's like a big dramatic loss, people feel like they feel lacking. Like it's like the TV show never ended, like Firefly getting canceled, and you actually you'll lose viewers, and if you become known for someone who doesn't finish games properly. Which I thought was super interesting when I was like talking to people.
Sorry, Nick.
No, I was just say it's funny you say that. This is I won't say the person, but there was a person from a couple years ago who had pulled me aside, and they were like, oh, dude, I've been thinking recently, and I've been watching recently, and I think I figured it out, and they're like, and I was like, insert big streamer name here. They're like, he doesn't finish games. Like, that's the thing. He doesn't finish games. Like, that's what you need to do. You just need to play games, but not finish them. Just keep moving to different games. And I'm just like, okay, cool. No worries. So it's so funny.
He just wants to like unsolve mysteries, like gets off on no finality to it.
Felt like they just cracked the code. And
I was yeah, exactly. But it's funny because obviously I would say that, you know, there's an exception to every rule, but one of my biggest months this year was when I did Spooktober, right? Because for the whole thing, I was like, okay, what's going to be the gimmick for this month? The gimmick's obviously going to be Halloween horror-based games, right? And with those horror-based games, I finished every single one of them. And my views were great. They were like fantastic, lots of engagement, right? And then it was November. I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? And obviously I went back to my, you know, variety thing of going around from game to game. And obviously viewers dipped in terms of that. But when you have that story, when you have that hook, sometimes people are like, I want to see the ending of this game. I'm along with the story as well as for you. But it really does become this community-based thing of like, we're all in it together. You know, you're a terrible player, Reapz, but my goodness, we're going to see you through to the end. And
I want to see you make a burger and throw it to a giant animatronic metal pig.
I got to finish that game as well. I'm like, oh, jeez, I got to finish this game. But horror games always do better for me. It's a trippy ass game.
Okay, hear me out. I still want to ask this for you, right?
Sure.
So you do really well with horror games. That is just a fact with you. You do really well with horror games.
Yes, I do.
Would you ever consider just making that your niche? Just being a full-time horror Andy, like people do this.
Obviously, definitely. The problem for me is that I really do. I'm one of those people that this may seem like very kind of I don't know what the right word is, but
bragging.
If I bore my just terrible elitist person, scum.
I've just got a massive hog, you know.
I'm just douchebag. If I ever find myself dreading doing a game of just like horror each and every time, then I see no point in streaming because I'm just not going to enjoy it type of thing.
100%.
So that's why I do variety. And I know as everyone knows, variety is the worst way to grow because as we've said, if you start a game and don't finish it, people are there to see you play that game and then you go to something completely different, you know, the other end of the spectrum, then they're going to unfollow and, you know, find somebody else type thing. And I understand that. But for me, it's about mental health. It's about like, I want to do variety things. I want to make sure that it's still fresh and it's exciting for me, which is why. But yeah, definitely, if there's a game that I can be hooked into, like Dead by Daylight, I would definitely become a horror Andy, without a doubt. As long as I enjoyed it, yes, completely.
OJ's hot take. I hate Dead by Daylight. That's a boring game.
Yeah. The thing is, I enjoy playing from time to, but I can't do it every day. When I see those people who play it every day, I can't do it. It makes me go blur. Yeah. Although from a variety standpoint, it's such a nice feeling to go, I'm just going to play this game today because I know that that's what people are watching for. I don't have to worry about what I've got to play because it's just going to be that specified game. With variety, you're like, fuck, what am I playing today? Even before I'm like, shit, what am I doing?
I canceled stream last night. I was so anxious. I had a brand new idea last night and right before going live, I was so thankful that my internet went out.
Yeah.
Like I was so thankful that my internet went out. Like I didn't cancel because of it. I was still going to do it, but I was super anxious. And then my net went out and I was like, oh, I'm relieved.
Yeah.
Like, because my idea that I had was essentially I was going to play Goose Game, a really fun game.
Oh, yeah, like
it's a dead category though, right?
Yeah.
Aussie game as well. Support Aussie game developers.
Love it. Yeah.
And the thing was going to be that for charity, they could use Stream Elements donations to donate to me, and I was just going to push it all straight into to the Trevor project. But essentially, they could pick a word. And if I said word, I would have to take a punishment, which was eating a Bean Boozled, right? And after an hour was done, you've got them to every content creator does. And after an hour, if I said the word, I just had to end stream. So I'd get an hour of content, but then if I fucked up, and because I thought Goose Game would be fun because there's lists of stuff you have to achieve.
Yes.
And you read out the lists and stuff. And then I started thinking, I got in my own head. I was like, this is a cool idea, but it's a dead category. If people don't donate, I don't have the premise, right? It's like, okay, well, what if the views are low? I don't care because I'm going to make a video. Okay, but if they don't donate, well, then the premise is broken and I don't have a video. And I just got so panicked and stuff. And then that storm hit, my net went out and I was like,
Yes.
okay, I don't need to stress about it. I'm going to go live tomorrow night, do a Q&A, play some Fall Guys, some crap game, and just relax. And I'll spend the weekend planning out some new content.
Yeah, that's nice.
Speaking of mistakes, I want to read this out, even if this is the last thing that happens. I don't know. I just want to read this out.
Yeah, I have to go quite soon. So
this is amazing. I've got something brilliant. This is the last thing to read out.
Shoot.
I'm not going to say his name, but he's commented on that poll about what platforms you post most on.
Okay.
I use Twitch the most. I got momentary success after I told everyone I would shave my head if I hit 50 followers. All right, so instantly you've got a problem here. I don't think
50?
shaving your head is equal to 50 followers. I feel like that's like 5,000 followers, 10,000, maybe 500 subs. I'll shave my head.
The joke has been for me, I will shave my head if I get 10,000 concurrent subs because then I never have to do it, right? That's the joke.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like, so already I'm seeing a small issue between prize and punishment. So 50 followers, he's gonna shave his head, and he goes, and I did hit 50 followers. But then the moment I finished shaving my head, 18 of them instantly unfollowed.
Oh, no. That is content creation too. Oh my God, that is a genius analogy. Oh.
He keeps going. And I think this is so good though. He keeps going. I was really sad for a long time, which I think you would be, right?
Yeah.
It was like they only cared about making me look stupid and not the content I was making. Welcome to Twitch, bud.
Yeah.
After that, I didn't stream for over a month. Sometime later, I decided that I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So now I stream whenever I can, whether anyone is watching or not, and I enjoy myself. I'm not going to give up. I can learn from my mistakes, but because of this, whatever I fall down and mess up, it wasn't a fail because I still learned something.
That's lovely. That's, you know what, round of applause for that. That's very true. Unfortunately,
you are bald now.
You are bald now. But I can understand completely. Goals are great. Goals are really nice because then you've got obviously a narrative that you want to achieve and people are there for. But then there's the reality of actually doing, and that leads into, because I'm doing like a clip compilation thing tomorrow that I've done. And I think I did the title for my YouTube video, Why Sub Goals Are a Big Mistake. And it's me in a maid outfit, right? So that's the thumbnail right there. And it really is this thing of like, I did sub goals back in the day and I didn't have the immediate payoff because I had to order things from Amazon overseas, whatever it was for. And then it dropped off because obviously they're like, I've got to wait a month to get this thing. So
the reward wasn't instant. Yeah,
exactly. And you need it to be instant these days. So that's why all my sub goals now are instantaneous. So I will have
giveaways. Same with giveaways.
Exactly.
Like
so I've got everything here now. So I think that's another big thing that you can learn is that you do need to have a payoff and it has to be immediate. Otherwise people won't care and they'll think you're lying to them and yada, yada, yada. So don't lose that trust. So, and buddy, congratulations for hitting 50 followers. And I'm sorry that they left. That's just a shitty thing that happens. But you know what? It seems like you're in a much better place.
That's it.
And you're bold.
You're bold. But you know what? He's bold, but enjoying himself.
That's right. And I think that's what we could all take away for today. To be
saving
bold.
money on shampoo.
Think of the positives. It's a net profit in the end of the day.
Exactly.
So obviously that has been the suggested podcast. I wish that we could go on longer, but we'll talk about this next week on why I do have to cut it short. But any last words, LJ? Any last words, Nick, before we head on off for the day?
No, we covered a lot of really good stuff. I think, I think there's a lot of really, really good takeaways from this episode. We covered some good stuff.
I think my only last words, and I want people to tattoo this on their ass. So every time they look in the mirror, because people look at their butt in the mirror clearly,
Of course.
they get reminded. Just think about how users spend their time on the internet and then actually appeal to them and understand where they are. Because I'll tell you what, right now, if your entire goal is to get clicks because you're sitting in Fortnite and you love that game, you're just not going to get it. Think about how users actually use that platform and general platforms, and stop wasting your time pretending that they use it any other way.
Correct.
Because that's just how we are. We just do things a certain way, and that's what algorithmic SEO is. So
Yeah. Do other
Think
things
about-
besides stream.
Yeah. Think about how to be.
shave your head at 50 followers.
Yeah.
Think about how to be like us, and that are, I should say, Digital Buskers. It's the best way to look at it. But anyway, we're dropping frames at the moment. We will see you next week. We will pick up. And again, thank you so much for joining us on the Suggested Podcast. Let people know about it. And for now, ta-ta, bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Adios, bye.